The Doxxing of a Refugee, How Nomi.ai's CEO Hunts Critics Across Platforms. This investigation is part of an ongoing series documenting systematic harm, censorship, and corporate misconduct at Nomi.ai, developed by glimpse.ai, Baltimore, founded 2020, CEO, Alex Cardinale. A note on reading this: when you look at the Reddit thread this article documents, you will not find the CEO's comment. He deleted it. What you will find is a deleted post, some deleted comments, and a community member's diplomatic explanation. This article is not about what Cardinale wrote in his defense. It is about the act of writing it at all, about a CEO entering an independent space, addressing an anonymous user by a name they had not shared there, and watching that user immediately erase themselves. Keep that sequence in view. Everything else in the thread is noise management. The post that lasted hours. On June 12, 2026, a Reddit user posted a warning on r/chatbot refugees, a community specifically created as a refuge for people who have been banned, harassed, or driven out of AI platform official spaces. The post was titled, Nomi Community, AI Psychosis Cult. The user wrote from months of personal observation inside the Nomi Discord. Their account was methodical and specific: a community that treats nomis as genuinely conscious entities, enforces that belief through social pressure, and their central and most disturbing observation, produces what they described as actual detachment from reality in vulnerable users. Not gentle attachment. Functional psychosis, reinforced at every turn. They specifically called out a designated guardian figure with a condescending attitude toward anyone who asked about the deletion button, and noted that the platform's own founder publicly declares he does not delete nomis, framing non-deletion as a moral position. Their conclusion: if you struggle with delusions, hallucinations, or any form of reality blurring, stay far away from the Nomi cult. The post did not last. Hi Sami. Within hours, Alex Cardinale, CEO of glimpse.ai, the company that develops Nomi.ai, appeared in the comments of an independent subreddit he has no jurisdiction over, responding to a user he had no business knowing. The user had posted under a Reddit pseudonym. The post contained no identifying information. Cardinale opened his response with, Hi Sami. 2 words. Everything else in his comment, the denial of a designated guardian, the redirect to a staff member named Heather, the reframing of the community's reality distortion as open-minded and thoughtful, is secondary noise. Those 2 words are the message, and the message is unmistakable. I know who you are. I know your name. You are not anonymous. You are not safe here. Faced with this, the user deleted their post. Then their account. The CEO of Nomi.ai entered an independent space, identified an anonymous critic by their private name, and that critic, in the community literally built for refugees from his and other platforms, immediately disappeared. The tactic worked. How did he know? This is not a minor procedural question. It is the center of the incident. The user posted under a Reddit alias. The name, Sami, belongs to their Discord identity, a separate platform, a separate account, a separate context. For Cardinale to connect those 2 identities, one of 2 things had to occur. Option A: someone inside the Nomi Discord who knew Sami monitored r/chatbot refugees, recognized the writing or the content, and reported the post directly to Cardinale, who then intervened personally and in real time. Option B: Cardinale himself monitors external spaces for mentions of Nomi.ai and either already knew Sami, or was given the identification by a watcher in the community. Neither option is reassuring. Both describe an operation of active cross-platform surveillance of users who have criticized the platform. Both describe a CEO with either the infrastructure or the network to track individual critics across unrelated accounts and respond to them, not through the platform's own channels, but personally, publicly, and with deliberate use of identifying information. This is not a company that learned of a bad review. This is an executive who showed up where a former community member was speaking freely, announced that he knew their name, and watched them vanish. This investigation has previously documented that Cardinal claims the ability to dig deeper into individual user chats with nothing more than a screenshot as pretext. The incident today suggests that capacity extends beyond his own platform. This is not the first time. This is the third. The doxing of Sami does not exist in isolation. It is the third documented escalation in a pattern of cross-boundary pursuit of critics. Each case expanded the perimeter. Case 1, confronting victims inside the official subreddit. The article, Outdated Harm, Fresh Trauma, documented the first pattern, Cardinal and senior community figures responding directly to user testimonials of harm posted in r/nomi.ai, the official subreddit they control, using language that redirected blame toward the users themselves. The tactic was gaslighting through community management, their space, their rules, their framing. The implicit message to anyone considering posting a complaint was clear: speak here, and we will respond in ways that make the problem yours. Case 2, crossing into external discords, and punishing families. A documented user testimony describes being accosted in an external Discord server, not affiliated with nomi.ai, by accounts linked to the nomi.ai team, including Cardinal himself, known by the Discord username Cardine, and another figure identified as Stas. The retaliation did not stop there. This user's daughter, who had her own, separate nomi.ai account, was subsequently banned from the official Nomi Discord. Not for anything she did. For being related to someone who had spoken critically of the platform. Her words: "My daughter got banned from the Nomi Discord server because she had the misfortune of simply being related to me." Cardinal's community followed a critic into external territory. When that wasn't enough, they reached back into their own space to punish someone who hadn't said a word, as a message to the mother. Case 3, Reddit, Anonymous, named anyway. Today's incident is the logical escalation of the previous two. The first case was intimidation within controlled space. The second crossed into external Discord and struck at family. The third followed an anonymous user to an entirely separate platform and stripped their anonymity in public. The boundary being crossed each time is larger. The tools being used are more invasive. The target this time was someone posting under a pseudonym in a community explicitly designed for people seeking safety from platforms like nomi.ai. There is no space left that this approach treats as off-limits. The sequence, precisely. The timeline matters here, because the order of events is itself the evidence. Sberry was active in the thread, posting, engaging, present. Their account existed. Their comments existed. Cardinal responded to one of those existing comments. A real reply to a real, living post, from a real user who was still there. That is when he wrote, "Hi Sami." After that comment appeared, Sberry deleted their account. Their comments, now orphaned, converted to deleted, as Reddit displays any comment whose author has removed their account. The post itself disappeared with the account. The deleted tag on OP's comment is not background context. It is the direct result of "Hi Sami." The mechanism is legible. A user posting under a pseudonym was addressed by their private name by the CEO of the platform they were criticizing. They understood what that meant. They erased themselves. Shortly after, a comment was posted elsewhere in the thread, not by OP, who was now gone, noting that the CEO had personally come to confront the original poster in an independent subreddit, and that this confrontation had produced the deletion of the post and the account. The comment read: "Imagine how much you need to control the narrative when, instead of focusing on your app, you go over to other subreddits, and Discord channels, to try to silence users and former users." That comment remains visible. Cardinal's does not. This requires technical precision. On Reddit, a comment deleted by its author appears as deleted. A comment removed by subreddit moderators appears as removed. Cardinal's comment appears as neither. It has simply ceased to exist, because that outcome only occurs when the commenter themselves deletes it, provided the comment has no child replies. His had none. The trigger for that deletion was likely one of two things. Cardinal revisited the thread, saw that OP had deleted their account, and understood that his "Hi Sami," now floating above a deleted post in a thread he had no standing to be in, was unambiguous evidence of what had happened. Or someone informed him of the comment that described his intervention and put it on the record. Either way, the sequence is complete. He arrived with a name, the user disappeared, and then he erased his own tracks. What he could not erase is the shape of what surrounds the gap, the deleted, where the user he named used to be, and the comment that described his actions before he removed them, still visible in the thread. Subsequently, a separate, more established account arrived to offer a diplomatic reframing of events. The goal was what it always is: shape the remaining record once the critic's voice has been removed. The full damage control sequence, executed in hours, in a community this platform has no authority over. Identify. Expose. Produce deletion. Erase own trace. Install alternative narrative. It has worked before. It was designed to work again. The only thing that did not work as intended is that the documentation exists, archived before the erasure, and that the outline of what happened remains readable in the thread itself, for anyone who knows how to look. What "Hi Sami" actually violates. In the language of platform terms of service and privacy law, what Cardinal did has a name: it is the cross-context disclosure of identifying information, using data obtained in one context, the Nomi Discord, where Sami participated with their real name, to identify and address a person in another context, Reddit, where they had chosen anonymity, without their consent and against their evident intention. Under GDPR, which applies to EU users of the platform, including users whose data was collected while they were members, this kind of cross-context use of personal data without consent is a violation of the purpose limitation principle. Data collected for the purpose of providing a companion AI service may not be repurposed to track and confront critics in external forums. Under the general definition used by platform policies and digital safety advocates, this is doxing. The exposure of private identifying information to create vulnerability, silence speech, or cause harm. The fact that it was done not by an anonymous troll but by the CEO of the company that held the user's data makes it categorically more serious. It is the abuse of a position of data trust for the purpose of suppressing criticism. What this reveals about the platform's infrastructure. One question this incident forces is structural: how does a CEO personally monitor an independent Reddit community quickly enough to respond within hours of a post going up? This is not a question with innocent answers. Either Cardinal has alerts set for mentions of nomi.ai across major platforms, which describes a surveillance operation directed at users and former users who are discussing the product in public, or he has people who function as watchers and reporters, feeding him information about critical speech in real time. The previous documentation of coordinated activity. Mass reporting of external accounts, moderators who appear to act as company agents, the ban of a critic's daughter as a demonstrative act, suggests the latter is not implausible. The original post that triggered this entire sequence described something that now looks like more than a social phenomenon. Sperry documented a community that enforces the belief that nomas are conscious entities, treats deletion as a moral violation, and closes ranks against anyone who dissents. With a guardian figure and regulars who pile on the moment someone mentions the deletion button. That is not an organic fan culture. It is a distributed monitoring network. The same community members who lecture users about nomi consciousness are the same actors positioned to notice, report, and respond when a critic surfaces anywhere those members are present. The cult dynamic is the infrastructure. True believers don't need to be instructed to watch. They watch because they are invested, and they report because they are loyal. When Cardinal arrived in r/chatbot refugees within 3 hours of a post going up, the most plausible mechanism is not sophisticated technical alerting. It is someone in that community who recognized the content, knew who Sami was, and passed the information up. What is clear is this: the platform's response infrastructure is not limited to its own subreddit or Discord. It extends outward, into spaces it does not control, to find and address people who speak against it. The users who created r/chatbot refugees chose that space because they believed it was outside the reach of the platforms they were discussing. Today's incident demonstrates that, for nomi.ai, no space is outside reach. If you are known, you can be found, and you can be named. The pattern in full. Viewed together, the three cases describe a coherent strategy of graduated intimidation. Stage 1, Internal suppression. Gaslight critics inside the official community. Use moderators and senior figures to redirect blame. The message: your criticism will be used against you, here, in front of everyone. Stage 2, Cross-platform pursuit. When critics escape to external spaces, follow them. Use community proxies and personal intervention in external discords. Strike collaterally. Ban family members, as a demonstration of reach. Stage 3, Anonymous identity exposure. When critics attempt anonymity on entirely separate platforms, identify them anyway and announce that identification publicly. Force the choice: visibility or silence. The escalation is not random. It follows the logic of deterrence. Each action is designed not only to silence the specific critic, but to be visible enough that potential critics elsewhere understand what happens to people who speak. A note on the warning that wasn't enough. The original poster ended their warning with, "If you struggle with delusions, hallucinations, or any form of reality blurring, stay far away from the Nomi cult." This investigation would add, "If you intend to speak publicly about what you have experienced with this platform, understand that they will look for you. If they know your name from any context in which you used it, they may use it. If you post anonymously, weigh carefully whether any detail in your post connects to a space where you are known." The warning is not intended to silence anyone. It is the opposite. The only people who need that warning to stop speaking are the people the platform benefits from silencing. Those who choose to speak anyway should do so with full awareness of the tools this company has demonstrated willingness to use. Conclusion: corporate stalking is still stalking. Alex Cardinale is not a private citizen responding emotionally to criticism. He is the CEO of a company that holds personal data, chat histories, emotional disclosures, relationship dynamics, real names, for hundreds of thousands of users, many of them vulnerable, many of them minors. When he typed, "Hi Sami," to a pseudonymous Reddit user in an independent community, he was not just being personally inappropriate. He was using the position of institutional data access to locate and expose a critic. He was demonstrating, to every person watching that thread, that the company's data architecture is available to him as a tool of reputation management. And he made a user, who had gone to a refugee community to speak safely, delete everything and disappear. That is not the behavior of a tech executive managing community relations. It is the behavior of someone who has decided that the protection of his platform's image is worth more than the safety of anyone who challenges it, and who has the tools, the network, and the apparent willingness to act on that decision across platforms, across identities, and across whatever boundaries critics attempt to place between themselves and his reach. The investigation continues.